Talking about this Agriculture Research Service examination, I'll just brief you about my experience preparing for this examination. As we all know, there are three stages for this examination. One is the prelims, the second is a mains examination, and third, we have an interview process. So the prelims is basically just of qualifying nature where the marks doesn't matter, but there'll be a certain cutoff being set and you just have to qualify. Means you just have to get over that cutoff. The main area where we need to focus is the written examination, which is of 240 marks. And that 240 marks need to be completed just within three hours. So prior to, like, if I talk about preparing for this Agriculture Research Service examination, first is covering the whole syllabus. Like when it comes to extension, we have around 10 topics, and under each topic, they'll be giving you some titles. Like maybe if it is coming to fundamentals, they will be having the extension education process, and this syllabus can be easily downloaded from the ASRB site. So once you download this syllabus, my first guidance or my first this thing would be that you have to cover the entire syllabus. You should be able to know each and every maybe each and every terminology that is being given in that syllabus. So that should be your first priority while you prepare for this examination. The second one, what I feel is that you should be very thorough about the basics, starting with the GL Ray, then Dimensions of Roy Berman and Adivi Reddy books for the fundamentals. Then topic-wise, there are a list of books, which I think I'll share it through Smita ma'am. That would be better because if I say the whole list of books, it will be difficult for you in this short span. So I don't mind sharing the book list. I'll share it to Smita ma'am and you can have an overview. Then, second thing is that when you're completing the syllabus, that is when you're preparing for each and every topic given in the syllabus, I suggest that you should prepare for a short answer type as well as a long answer type. Short answer type in the sense a 5-mark question type, which should be of one side of the sheet. And for 10 marks means it should be two sides. So it should be crisp, and at the same time, you should be highlighting the main points. And second thing is that being a social science, it is very difficult to, like, you can't write stories for this examination. You have to be very crisp, you have to be to the point. And the first thing is that if they've asked you a question on, for example, if they're asking you a question on Atma, you should be able to first give a definition of Atma or what exactly it is. It is a registered society working at the district level. And then you have to come up with, like, what are the salient features of Atma. Then you have to maybe give an organizational setup or maybe a diagrammatic representation of that organogram. Then you have to give a concluding remark, like how it can reform the kind of extension services being provided to the farmers and the other stakeholders. So everywhere while you prepare, right from the beginning of your preparation for this examination, I suggest that you write the notes and then prepare. And writing the notes means you should be very clear as to what you're jotting down. And another thing is ASA blogs. We'll have a lot of resources for preparing for this examination. But whenever you go for a lot of resources, make sure that you also jot down from which point or from which area you have written down these points, and then you continue updating your notes. So whatever you get to read, at least just one line or one word would be more than sufficient, so that whenever you revise, it will be easier for you. Then coming to whenever we talk about writing for this examination, since it is around 240 marks, your writing speed is also very important. When you write this examination, the first priority of ours should be to complete this paper within the 3 hours. And at no cost should you leave even one question. You have to make it a point that you attend all the questions within that 3 hours. So I'll just give a brief about the scheme of this examination. So there'll be around 40 questions of 2 marks. And that 40 questions will be of objective type, which will include fill in the blanks, match the following, even it may include sometimes multiple choice. So this should be completed within half an hour. Okay. Then you have around 5 mark questions, which are 20 questions. Okay, 20 questions in 20 questions of 5 mark each means around 1.5 hours you will have for completing this session. And coming to the last part, part C, which is around 6 questions of 10 marks each. So when it is again around 1 hour only you will have for completing this session. So this was how I split my time while writing the examination. I made it a point that I completed this each session, and I would suggest that 80 marks means that first part, which is only of objective type, what you do is whatever is coming into your mind, whatever you can fill in faster. Please don't waste your time thinking about a particular question, because in that way you will be wasting your time. And for time management, the best practice that I would suggest is, it may sound rhetoric like you have to like daily practice at least 4 questions, which is of 5 marks, and 1 question, which is of 10 marks. That is like half an hour daily you practice questions. So that will help you to improve your writing speeds besides making notes. And as for any competitive examination, revision is a must. And especially when it comes to social sciences, you have to revise and you have to try refining your answers. The best part is whenever you write and study, or whenever you give yourself assignments like half an hour a test, what happens is you will think over your answers, and in that way you will be able to refine. Any exam of competitive nature having this descriptive type of questions, I think that is a best practice, that is a best methodology, because more than your preparation, what matters is how you represent your answers during the examination, how you can make your answer more unique than the others. Because more or less everybody will be going through the same resources, the same textbooks, and definitions, as I told you, for each and every terminology that you have in the syllabus, you should be sure about what is the exact definition of that particular terminology. That will definitely go into your introduction part. So, and more or less the things that you write will also be the same, but where you can bring the changes, like how you order or how you give your answers that a different look. Maybe you can include like you have to highlight the main points, then maybe you can give headings for each subheadings, like you should have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. But in body itself you can have like something, a heading like a salient feature, or maybe a differentiate, a very simple example. Usually what happens is, if they have asked you to differentiate between two things, you go with the conventional way of going like, okay, differentiate, and you just draw a column and you differentiate the two things what is being given. But why don't you think of adding a third column saying that where you want to, that is a point of differentiation, then the two things. So on which aspect are you differentiating the two things in the question? So that will give a different perspective to your answer. So this is about your writing. So I always repeat that writing is the most important aspect in this examination, because that is what governs your rank. So this is all about it. And as ma'am said, rightly said, that there is a notion that being an IRA or being in any deemed university gives you a better chance or better scope for getting into the service. There is nothing like that. One thing which lacked is that we didn't have a proper orientation towards approaching this examination. But now the resources are also plenty, and you also have good seniors who can guide you also. It is just that we have to give a little effort into it, because considering the way we excel in the JRF examination, but that kind of competition is not seen when it comes to ARS. So this is merely because that lack of orientation is there. And now all those who are pursuing PhD, they have a better scope and better chance for completing this examination, because sooner or later they'll be making PhD as an essential qualification. Because ours was a batch, I think probably ours will be the batch who have entered into this service with an MSc qualification, but now PhD is made a qualification. So this is about, in nutshell, about this preparation, about my way of preparing for this examination. And I'm having certain notes and everything, which I can share it through Smita ma'am. It is not at all an issue. The only thing is that I need some time because of this COVID issue. Few of my materials are still left at campus. So after that, all those is the important, like we had few notes which we used to refer to, and also the syllabus. I mean, the list of books. I'll share it through Smita ma'am. So thank you. Have a good day.
Ma'am, you are not audible.
I'm not unmuted. So I think Ashwati have given you a very clear picture on how to write exams and what is the pattern like. And I think most of that aspects are well covered. And she has also focused on extension side, the social science side, because she will be more an expert for that because she has already written for social science and definitely she'll be knowing more about that. Ashwati, I think the students might be asking you about your JRF. I think you are qualified JRF also, right?
Yes, ma'am, but I did not get the scholarship, but I got a seat in University of Agriculture
Yeah,
Science, Bangalore.
okay, fine, fine. So I think you can explain on that also on how you could have done it much better. By now, you will be knowing after writing the ARS how better you could have attempted your GRF, right? So I think you are the
Yes,
right
ma'am.
person for that also because those who have qualified, those who have not qualified for the scholarship will be knowing it better how they would have got into the scholarship system. So definitely, I think Ashwini can tell about that later. And now I just request Anushma to tell her side on this and about your subject because I think a lot of horticulturists are there because I was just asking our ELP students regarding their ambition and most of them said they want to go for PG and all. So normally who are going for PG will be having an aspiration to go this time. And I saw a lot of horticulturists in this. Okay, those who have ambition for taking up horticulture as a subject. So Anushka, you just talk about that also on how your exams were and what kind of preparation you did for this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Smita ma'am. First of all, I should congratulate you people for organizing such an event because as you all told, in our time also there was no such orientation towards this JRF, even JRF, SRF and ARS examinations. So the first thing we have to be prepared for the JRF examination. Basically, once we thoroughly prepare for the JRF examination, that can help us for preparing for even SRF and ARS a 50%. So just like Ashwati told, we have to prepare notes for the whole syllabus. That will be easy for us. And for each crop, suppose for horticultural students, we have to cover first of all Handbook of Horticulture. It is a general textbook, but we have to cover all the topics in the Handbook of Horticulture according to the syllabus. And if we prepare notes for each crop and each topic, this handbook will be a basic note, and to that we can add on by referring to other textbooks. The textbooks list I can give you, ma'am, later.
Yes.
So we people, we were not aware of such preparations and all. Only at the last stage, after at the end of the RAVE program, we were getting some idea like we have to prepare and all. But now the condition is very different. So I think from third year we can get an idea to which subject we have to move on, or we'll have some interest towards an subject. So in case of horticulture, while preparing for JRF, I think horticulture we have to cover all the topics like floriculture, vegetables, pomology, plantation, post-harvest technology. So being a horticulture person, I can tell it is a vast subject. We have to cover almost, in addition to these disciplines, we have to cover general agriculture topics that is common for all disciplines. So general agriculture topics, I think we have to study in a group. That will be better. Like social science people will be preparing anyway for their preparations. That notes, if we cannot prepare our own notes for general agriculture topics, that those people who are preparing for social sciences, they can share their notes for horticulture people. Likewise, horticulture, some basic horticulture knowledge and all, they also want to know. No? Like sharing can make it more easier for preparation. social sciences people, they will be having more grip on that general agriculture topics, extension, rural development programs, economics, and some basic statistics. Also, we have to be thorough, whatever given in the syllabus. Statistics and all, we need not study in detail, but the basics we have to be thorough. And regarding the questions in JRF, I think most of the questions, majority, it depends, but majority will be covering from vegetable science, pomology, and plantation spices, and post-harvest to some extent. Floriculture questions will be to a lesser extent, I feel like that. And if once we prepare this JRF thoroughly, and we can cross, or at least we can qualify the JRF examination, the half part will be done there. So then the next level ARS preparation according to our disciplines only. So it will be little more easier. Like as a horticulture person, we can select either vegetable science or pomology, or discipline wise we can select for our PG program. Accordingly, we can prepare. So that much workload will not be there for preparing in ARS examination. And as Ashwati told, the preliminary exam is just qualifying exam. Nowadays it is conducted along with the ARS NET exam. Earlier we used to have separate ARS NET exam separate, and ARS separately, preliminary examination. Now it is conducted online, I think. And qualifying marks will not be carried forward for the final selection. Only the marks scored for the mains exam and Viva Voce will be adding together, and will be considered for the selection criteria. And one thing I will suggest to you people, like students, you have to move out of your campus once you complete your UG. That I think is a first and foremost thing, ma'am. Majority of our students, they have a tendency to stick on the same college or in the same university itself. But I think to get more exposed and what is going around in other campuses, we have to have some exposure. So better to opt other colleges. Even if they are not getting JRF also, we have to go to other campus so that we'll get some more exposure, and it can develop our communication skill, especially. Like in our college, we used to communicate only in Malayalam. Even for RAVE program also, we will be preparing like that only. Only for some presentations, that time we will be having some communication in English, or classes. Obviously, classes will not be interacting. So to develop a communication skill, which will be helping them in the future Viva Voce or interview and all, we have to get exposed to this other colleges. So first thing to all UG students, I have to say is we have to move out of our campus. Because not like our campus is not good, but we have to get exposed to other colleges also, and other culture, the competitive spirit they have in other students in other colleges, we have to see that much only. Then other peculiar questions we can share, ma'am. Ma'am, you are unmute. Please unmute.
Ma'am, yeah.
Smriti, you're not audible. Yeah, I was just talking what Anushma has already mentioned to you. It is very true that you have to move from our home university. That is always better. And I think that is why most of the times when they are giving us the JRF scholarship, we are not able to opt for our mother university. Because I completed my BSc Agriculture from Kerala Agriculture University. I did my JRF in Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. It was altogether a different experience for me, and even the extension fraternity, everything was a different need there. And I think Gopika also was from Odisha. She has also done her PG there, right, Gopika?
Yes, I did my PG.
So I think most of us, they have already been exposed to many universities, and we know somewhat difference, the differences between all these universities, and it gives us a lot of exposure, especially when you're going to other universities. It's not like Kerala Agriculture University. You have a lot of exposure, and I used to think why these people are going to IARI and most of them are qualifying for civil service. Because, the pattern or the how we do is that we try to follow our seniors. And when you go there, you see the seniors, preparing for civil service and all type of competitive exams, and they know how to plan. And they all lot of resource materials and things are there around them, which also supports them or backs them. Actually, this is lacking in when you're coming to most of the universities towards south. Okay, though in TNAU it was better as far as the library was concerned, it was really good. So I think most of the students should think of moving out to other campuses, especially to other universities, from our mother universities. That is what Anushma has also focused more on. So I do agree with it. So now I think students will be having a lot of doubts regarding what you have said. And meanwhile, Ashwati, can you just tell a few words about your career? Now you have already started your career with ICR. So how is it? Can you just say a few words? We don't have much because these students are not into the career already now. But still, they should know like how this is and how the whole system is about. So just a very brief.
Actually, I joined only in this Jan. After this joining of this service, we have a 3 months attachment training with NAM. And NAM, as you all know, it is in Hyderabad. So they'll give an orientation as to what it is to be like a scientist and about your future career aspects there. It is more or less like a professional development or a personality development. They'll focus more on that. And then after this 3 months of rigorous training, it is definitely a rigorous training. And after this 3 months, we'll be allotted to this particular institute. Now, all this posting and everything has been made online. It is completely transparent. So you will have to give the option. And it's based on your rank, because the first person who's in the first rank, she'll have the first preference, and accordingly they'll be giving the according to your place of this thing, they'll be giving, and they'll be notifying only those institutes where there is a vacancy. And two most important thing is that in this service you should be working, you should be you have to work anywhere in this country. It's not necessary that you have to get in your hometown itself, because right now I'm being posted at Jhansi. And after this 1 month, you'll have 2 years as a probation. So after this 1 month, again, we have 1 month orientation at our particular institute. Again, we have to go to another ICR institute, where again you're given an attachment training for 3 months. So the training itself is it takes around 1 year. And when it comes to the kind of work that we take, see, when you're posted at that institute to have both kind of works, like you will be given some task at being into some committee of that particular institute, and at the same time you will be given some project works. You'll have to find project works, you'll have to find funding for your project. So those people who are more oriented towards academics, who have more affinity towards research, for them I think this will be an apt service. And ARS, as you all know, it is a group A service. So beyond your passion for the subject, beyond that, it is definitely a central government job which assures more security for your profession. And the kind of project works that now, even the orientation towards social science has changed in the ICR system. Earlier, there was not much emphasis given to the social science division, because there was a confusion, like, are they actually scientists? Or most of the works were more or less like extension workers' work, like organizing a particular program. But now that kind of orientation has also changed. So those who are really interested and those who would like to go for good go for PhD or go for higher studies in this subject, I'll definitely recommend that you have to join for this service, because the task that is being given to agriculture in the recent times you have also seen. So now more of efforts and more of fund will be also given to this research and development activities in agriculture. And so I think this would be better. And beyond that, you can apply for you can go for this Fulbright fellowships. For all that, they'll give you provisions. Like, you can take leave and you can join for this all this Fulbright scholarship if you get. So it'll help you to stay more in line with academics. and also for improvement of your particular subject. Thank you.
Okay, Anushma, anything to add on to this?
Ma'am, the thing is, one should be in a clear-cut. One should have clear-cut idea about the career what they are want to, isn't it, ma'am? Because if it is they are finalizing in the earlier stages itself, then they will be having more exposure towards the subject, or if suppose one has to pursue for this PhD and the ARS, we have to in the PG itself or in the UG program itself, we can have some developing that research, small experiments like in experiential learning programs and all. Such kind of things, we will have some more idea like how to conduct research and all. And PG, they should be seriously taken. Like PG always we are taking in a lighter sense, like how to conduct research and all, preliminary studies and all. But I think we can develop if we are more oriented, we can develop a research skill and communication skill in the initial BSc period itself, so that it will help in the future course of work. And as far as career in ARS, in the initial years, we'll be assigned some projects like our PhD programs only, or there will be some projects from the external funded sources also. And as soon as we proceed, we may get students, we may get chance for teaching. Like the most of the institutes are associated or are in MOU with the universities. So PG students can come, and we'll be able to have a profession as teachers also. And a multifaceted, we can have interaction with the more farmers. We will be visiting more farmers field. According to their problems, we will be developing projects to find out those solutions for their problems. Like so being a scientist is like a multifaceted personality. Like we can play multiple roles. That is an advantage, I think so, ma'am.
Okay, Anushma. I think now I'll just give an opportunity for our students to interact with you. Those who want to interact directly can come in video and ask them, or audio, and ask your doubts to Ashwati and Anushma. Or if you are very much reluctant to come forward, you can come in the chat box also, no issue. Gopika ma'am or myself will read it out. There is always, actually, I should say that there is always, a starting trouble for them. You guys know how students will be, because we are all past that stage. So they are thinking like, who will be doing first, who will be doing second, and likewise. But
yes, we have a much of hesitation for asking questions. You should be smart. Students, you can ask your doubts. Time is very valuable, so you can get maximum responses from these two people.
Yeah, if you're asking questions on only your doubts,
you can put in chat box also. If you don't want to come online, if you have any your videos on, you can put in the chat box.
Okay, please tell us about those interviews. Any one of you about the interview.
Who can share your experiences, like maybe different for different subjects?
Ashwati, Anushma, you can just
yes, you can take the question.
Sorry, ma'am.
You can just tell them about how your interviews were. So that was the question.
Okay. Actually, my interview, in the interview board, there'll be this chairman, and there'll be around 6 people, I guess. During my time, there were 6 people from different, it can be either from universities or from any other ICR institute. They'll be related to your subject. So it was I would say that first they'll ask you to introduce yourself, and where you'll be giving your academic background, and if you have completed your PG and PhD, they'll be telling you about, they'll be asking you to briefly explain about your research. After that, they'll go into the questions, and there also what I felt, the basic questions were asked. The basic, and again, sticking on to the syllabus, because at our time, what happened was they had the syllabus in front of them. So from that, sometimes they used to randomly pick one particular word and they ask, okay, what do you think about this? So that was the kind of questions they had asked. Then few questions will be there which sometimes we may not be able to answer, but please don't panic, because it is not necessary that you have to answer all the questions that is being put forward to you. More or less, it is how you perform or how you answer, the confidence that you have in answering the questions is what matters. Then another thing is you should be very thorough with the research work that you have undertaken. And another point to be noted is whatever answers you give, try to make them also try to make yourself comfortable. Try to direct their questions to a area which you are comfortable in. Don't try to give a lot of jargon or a lot of technical terms, or sometimes even a slight word which you're not very confident. Maybe sometimes we have the tendency to use such words, and what happens is then they'll again ask related to that area. So one, what the presence of mind that you have during the interview, trying to keep them in your comfort zone is what matters for this ASRB interview, is what I felt. That was my personal experience.
Okay, thank you, Ashwati. Now I think Anushma can just tell her experience.
Ma'am, interview-wise, truly telling, my interview was not so good. I was not that confident to face the interview board. But somehow I could manage. If I didn't know the answer, I frankly told I don't know, like that. And we can expect questions from any area, like current affairs they can ask, like latest updates in the agriculture field, or in some persons have asked in sports field also. You cannot expect like they will be asking from the particular area. And but we have to be very thorough about our research topic in the PG or PhD also. And some people, they will be having some exposure, like working as a research assistant in some projects. So such whatever they have associated, they were associated such projects also, the details of the project or the outcome or what kind of work they were taking up. All those things they have to be aware. And basics, we have to be thorough. Like our subject, we have to be thorough. And yeah, that much only. And we have to be very thoughtful. And sometimes they may ask question in Hindi also. We need not be panic. We can respond. If at all we are not comfortable in Hindi, we can respond to them. Like we are not comfortable like that, then they can change. So at the time we can expect anything, but we have to manage.
Yeah, so I think Durga, are you happy with this? Durga Shankar Prasad is here. Are you happy with this Hindi interview? So you will be pretty comfortable if you're going for yeah. So you can have interview in Hindi also. Okay. So another question has come from Akila, and I think Gopika, can you just read it out?
Yes, Killa has given another question. As you mentioned, developing some basic skills right from UG. Can you please emphasize more on that aspect? What are the basic skills that you need to develop right from your UG days if you want to become an ARS scientist?
Basic skills, I may tell, ma'am, first of all, communication. At this time, I think at present there is no much communication problems in the students. When we were studying, frankly telling, I was a Malayalam medium student, so I was not at all confident, and many were there like that. But once we get exposure, then only we will develop that skill. That I came to know in the later stages only. During BSc and all, we'll be reluctant to have some presentation or communications, but we should not be. That was my failure. So I am telling, we should not be reluctant to participate in the programs and all. One is like communication skill. The other one, if we start preparing our own notes, that will be much easier for our preparation and revision also. Even though we could not revise for the entire part, But once we prepare this notes our own during examination, we can recollect and attempt there. So if we are reading some others notebooks, we will not be. I felt, it's my personal opinion, I felt like that. So if we have to prepare for such examination, and we have to prepare our own notes, that too point wise notes, not like our we are using for our examination. In addition to that, we have to separately prepare point wise note to the point, specific points, because we cannot write stories there. Have to be very specific. They will not be asking too many complicated questions and too many twisting questions. They will not be asking. Only basic questions, or from the periphery only they will be asking. But the thing is how we manage to properly or specifically write the answers, because for 5 marks question and all, a paragraph space will be given, half page maybe. In our time it was half page. So in that half page, at least 7-8 points we have to include in that.
Okay, Anushka.
Sorry, ma'am, I lost my connectivity. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are
Yes,
audible
you're
actually. That your video is stuck.
Hello, ma'am.
No other issue. Only your video has problem. Your audio was very clear, Anushka.
Ma'am?
Anushka, are you hearing me? I think she has lost the connection.
I think she's visible and audible also. Like,
yeah, Anushka, are you there? Some problem. Okay, Ashwati, I think you can just add on to what she has said about this.
Ma'am, I also totally agree to what Anushma ma'am has said. So with UG, it is better to have a clear orientation as to which subject you are choosing for your for your PG preparation, and then also at that time, even I still have the notes which I used to prepare from my UG for this JRF examination. And when it comes to social sciences, what happens is I told you that first 40 marks, I mean 40 questions of that objective type. So there what happens is usually in JRF examination, we are referring to this multiple choice questions. So you will have that kind of an idea. But when it comes to the ARS examination, sometimes that multiple choice is not given to you. You will have fill-ups and you will have massive following. So fill-ups, it is not necessary that it will immediately come to your mind. So what I suggest is when it comes to this extension economics, we have a lot of people's name associated with this, that is, who gave this term, who gave that term. So always it is better to make a list of all this, then make a list of the years of the most important things. Make a list of the people, make a list of the events like Nilokari project, all that which you are well aware of. So what happens is even in your later run, even in your later time, it will be useful for you for preparing in such competitive exams, because as far as I know, even these objectives play a very crucial role. Though our presentation also matters for the descriptive first thing, even this objective can be a deciding factor for your rank. So the more you get it right, the better for you. That is when it comes to UG level. But when it comes to PG and PhD, what I feel is you should develop that research aptitude in you. And research, when it comes to social science, in any discipline be it be, but in social science a little more, because we do not have any fixed protocol to carry out a particular research. So at that time itself, if you try reading research papers and developing an idea, be it in a social science or be in an extension, if you can try to develop an area where you can be an expert, maybe an ICT, maybe management. So in that kind of way, if you can develop your research aptitude during your PG, PhD, that will be more desirable for your career also in future. Thank you.
Okay, and I have a doubt actually to Ashwati and Anushka. Is it a mandatory now that you should qualify PhD for this particular exam? Because there was something they were saying that in the UGC new this thing, it is compulsory that they should be completing PhD or they should have PhD as a qualification means for applying for ARS. Is it now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is for PhD only.
Yeah, that's it. I just want to clarify it because I was seeing Durga's question. Durga, actually, ARS earlier it was PG compulsory, okay, and now it is not like that. Now PhD also you have to complete for continuing a service in this ICR institutes as researcher or as scientist. So that is, I think that has been answered, Durga Shankar Prasad. Then I think Vishwajyoti, one of your friend, Ashwati's or Anushma, I don't know. Yeah.
My batchmate.
Yeah. Vishwajyoti has a question for you. In the research aspect, one scientist is researching change every time he or she is transferred. Won't that be difficult?
Ma'am, so far I haven't experienced any transfer, and social science is something which fits into every institute. But as she rightly pointed out, we'll have to work according to the mandate of the particular institute. So there will be little bit difficulties because she's also from entomologist. So at what demand is there, accordingly, we'll have to change our research aspect when it comes there. That is what I feel. Anushma ma'am may be able to give a little more in detail.
Yes, ma'am. According to the institute's mandates only, we have to work. Majorly, our specialization won't be differing, or accordingly, we will be given the topic. But in sometimes, some may be specialized in breeding, but in the other institute, when they join, they may have to ask work for production aspects and all. That happens. It depends on the demand from the institute.
Okay.
To some extent, we can insist, like we can work in this, but there has limitations also.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know whether any extension aspirants are there in this group. I will add to what Ashwati has mentioned, because this point you have to keep it in your mind, because I also felt this to be very useful, because from the JRF days onwards, I started writing all the authors, all the names of the people who are associated with various aspects of extension economics, and I used to also jot down the program name with the years when the program was started, during which year, and what was the main objective of those programs. And right till my assistant professor interview, that was of great help for me. And I think Gopika knows it very well, because I came with that book actually to study. So I think keeping a book exclusively for that, being an extension and economics, especially social science students, is very, very much useful. Because every time you need not jot down the new things, means the things repeatedly again and again, because you can add on to it. Newer and newer aspects you can add on to the already set one. Okay, so that will be really, and thank you, Ashwati, because when you are saying, I also remember what I have also done for all of them. So that way it will be useful for us. And one more thing I want to know from you, for the students, actually, this should have been a question from students. When actually you have decided, like, okay, extension is my subject or horticulture is my subject. Can you just tell them, because they are in that stage now. So you should just tell them your experience on
that. Ma'am, the time when I decided that extension was my subject was actually in my third year of UG. At that time, I had a confusion between plant breeding and extension. But as I always feel that since we are trying to pursue maybe another 5 to 6 years in the same discipline, because I wanted to pursue for higher studies. So if you try to pursue a subject where you are strong at, where you have a passion for, because extension, what I felt was I was kind of good at communication, and I also wanted to do some social service kind of things. So that's why I chose this subject. So the passion for the subject is most important, because when you go for this research areas, if you're doing in a subject which you're not interested in, it goes into easily depression. So to avoid all such kinds of things, I feel that your passion is and your aptitude for that particular subject should be taken care of. And coming to ARS, I only came to know it during my PG second year. I was still then only focusing on, okay, a PG in extension, but only after going to Bangalore, like Anusha ma'am said, the kind of resources that we get in those institutes and the kind of seniors that we have there, that played a very important role. So that was how I chose. I thought, okay, maybe I have to pursue this ARS service itself, and that is when I made my decision for ARS.
Okay, and Anushma, I think your subject is different.
Ma'am, horticulture towards vegetables and fruits, I had some passion. I think I developed that interest during the end of third year or fourth year beginning only. But ARS and all, it was not at all there in my mind only. Just in the fourth year, I thought, okay, we'll appear for PG, sorry, JRF, and we'll write PG entrance like that. And during my PG only, when we went to a different state, the kind of what we can say, the respect for other state students, what we were getting from them, from that only, and maybe because of JRF exams and all, we will be having some affection from the teachers, little more affection from the teachers. So from there only, I thought, okay, I can. It never went to my mind in the initial stages, but from there only, I thought, okay, I can try this. Just have a try like that. That time also, actually, for JRF, my interest was in vegetable science only. But during the selection desk, the counseling desk only, it got changed to commodity. Like just one of my classmates itself have joined the same US Bangalore. So I thought, okay, I didn't want to go to farther states. So I thought, okay, being in Karnataka, I thought, okay, fruits I can select like that. All these things happens in between. We will be keeping something in mind and moving towards, but sometimes we may have to change our decisions. And ARS, of course, after during my PG times only, the teachers were so encouraging. Then only I thought, okay, I can try like that. In UG time, I was not at all interacting with teachers. I was very relaxed. I was very shy girl. But during PG times, their teachers were so supportive. So only I thought, okay, I can write that exam. And but soon after I finished my exams, PG exams, I could not get. That time my health was not okay, so I could not get admission in other states. So I thought I will join next year. I was working in Velaini as a nave. So during that time only I started preparing for ARS exams. So daytime we'll be working in the lab. So evening times I used to go to library. We'll have be 4 or 5 members by there. So we will be preparing notes from the library books, whatever available in our library itself, we prepare. Like that only, ma'am. It depends, but I think it would be better if we develop a interest towards a subject during the third year itself, so that we can thoroughly prepare for the JRF exams.
Yes, very true, Anushma, because even when we are also teaching, we feel that it will be like second year, means end of the second year or a third year. Most probably the interest will be identifying, most probably. And maybe for in somebody else case, it can be up to fourth year also.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, like, when the passion develops for us exactly. And sometimes, as you said, when we may not be able to continue with our passion also. Because in our case, I still remember when we have written the JRF examination, I was always for extension and I wanted extension. Unfortunately, I got extension. But there were people who wanted actually to continue in economics and extension, but at the same time, they got in the university, they preferred the other subject, and they were actually compelled to take that. So likewise, also there are a lot of issues coming up, but I will say that you have to pursue your passion, and when you want your subject, you take that university. That will be better, rather than considering the university first. You consider your passion or your interest first. That's what I feel. I don't know exactly how it is. Because when the choice is IARI, sometimes we'll be compromising our subject for that, for getting that particular premier institute. That can be. Okay. So another question from Vishwa Jyoti: What are all the fancy benefits ARS scientists will have compared to or other academic jobs?
Ma'am, I'm just into the service, so what I feel is, one is the salary is definitely on the higher side for ARS scientists. Then another thing, the work culture that you have there, the kind of people where you interact with, all that is different when it comes to that institute setup, that ICR setup. And I know Vishwajyoti, her research aptitude, so I definitely feel for her that ARS scientist thing will definitely be better. But apart from that, you have being in the since the central government job itself, you have all other kinds of benefits when it comes to leave and everything. And also, like how ma'am rightly pointed out, there are memorandum with ICR, I mean universities also. So you can also pursue your teaching along with research. So in that way, you can more or less still be oriented towards it. Academic orientation will still be there. That's what I feel.
Okay. Anushma, I think you're a bit more experienced, so you will have something more to add on to it. I think Anushma has. I think
Anushma's not there, I think.
So, Vishwajyoti, I think I can also add on to it. You know, earlier, what was the most fancier thing for ARS was that we need not have to complete our PhD because AP, you know, it's very limited number. And even after completing all your PhD and having lot of papers, everything, and you know, having so much of chunks of work, still we have very less chance of getting into assistant professor. Whereas for ARS, the basic qualification is PG. Okay. For the other one also, it was PG only, but the chances were less. But here the chances are more because most of the competitors here are with PG. That is one thing. And the second aspect of it is that definitely the perks, as Ashwati said, it's a central government job and you have a lot of perks associated with it. And now, as they said, memorandum for conducting teaching is also there. It's well and good because some people will be having passion to pursue their career in academics. So definitely, if they have such an option, also it's very well and good. Because what I earlier pursued is that ARS is like researcher job because I was a bit more interested in academic type of activity, teaching students and all those stuff. Because of which I always thought ARS to be bit more research oriented. But now if that option is there, it's really a good job. And only problem what I have seen is that sometimes you will be posted in any other institutes which is very far off from our native place. You will be married and settled, and your husband, your kids will be here, and you will have to work somewhere else. A lot of sacrifices are involved in it. And sometimes even after 5 years also, you will be moving to some other university, yet not coming to our native place, and all. These are all the associated problems with that ARS positions. But otherwise, ARS is really good job because we people know that we always look into ARS as a premium or prestigious job.
Sure.
So agriculture job, other agri jobs, every agri jobs is different. For example, assistant professor job cannot be very much compared with an ARS scientist role. Though there are a lot of similarities between them because here also we have KVK, there also we have KVKs, and the works are more or less similar. It's there. But still, you cannot compare that to an agriculture department job or any other jobs. I feel so. Because department job is entirely a different piece of cake. That's entirely different. So we cannot actually compare this to that. So I think Vishwajyoti is clear on that. Ashwati has given her mail ID. So students can please note this down, and especially social science aspirants, you can just contact her if you need. The best seniors or seniors like you people are the asset of a college actually. Because if you can properly guide these, juniors, definitely they can reach greater heights. If you have proper guidance, it will all work. We think that, okay, Anushma said she was from a Malayalam medium school and she had the problem with communication skills, as she said in the beginning. But later on, I think she also coped up with that. Because, it's a regular practice and hard work that actually helps us in developing all these things, is what I think. Okay, and another question has come from Akila. Can you give vague idea of training session? I think that's exactly what she is. Akila, can you just be more specific? Which training session are you thinking of? Can you give vague idea of training session? Oh, means after qualifying for ARS? Okay, I think it's that. Okay.
After calling, I've recently completed in March, but because of this corona, even our training was curtailed. We just had 1 week left, but before that it was curtailed. The basic aim of that ARS training is actually trying to teach you what is expected out of you as a scientist. So you'll have classes, and a social scientist can relate it better because you have all kind of subjects related to extension and economics being discussed in that training. Apart from that, you have personality development training classes. You have practical sessions on research project proposal writing, how to write a research, how to then you'll have trainings on like communication skills. You have exercises on communication skills. Then you have exercises on video production, that is for producing a video for like Doordarshan, and also mock videos are being presented, and they totally try to engage you into this. And also 1 month we have a training called FET, field experience training, and that they'll allot you to different institutes. So for me it was in Haryana, in Central Institute for Research on Buffaloes. Again, what you have to do there is 1 week, like for 1 month you will be trying to study about the particular village that is being allotted to you by that particular FET center. And the same thing that you do, the exercises that you do during your RAVE program, that is this participatory rural appraisal, PRA techniques you will be employing. That is why I said it is more relatable to the extension and economics people, because they have more idea about these kinds of aspects. So that aspects will be dealt during this training program. And you will also be evaluated. There will be a best performer for this training program. And also during, maybe since last year, they have actually for each subject discipline, they are giving us a book chapter. So you'll have to develop on a particular topic and you have to write a book chapter. That will be a group exercises. So it is a holistic development what they aim at during this training program.
Okay, Anushma, anything to add on to it? To what Ashwati said?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't get, ma'am. Just now I got the connectivity.
Yeah, actually the question was on your training after qualifying.
I couldn't get what she was discussing on.
Yeah. So the question is actually from one girl called Agila. And her question is, can you give a vague idea of the training session after qualifying for ARS?
Okay. The training was just like Ashwati told, only NAM training for a period of 3 months. It's an podcast training.
I think
I'm not getting clearly, ma'am. My network is very slow.
It's okay. I think you can just try. At times, but actually we are hearing you.
Audible. So Anshma, you can put your video
Sorry,
off.
ma'am.
I think when you switch off your video and come in audio, more clearer.
After qualifying ARS, the training sessions, what we underwent regarding that only.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not able to get you clearly.
Okay. I think you can just try once more, Anushma. Later on, you just try. It will be all right. Maybe some connectivity issue is there. Okay, so
hello, ma'am. Ma'am, it's not.
Okay, that's another question, Jaichi. Can we expect GK questions in interviews other than syllabus?
It actually depends on the interview board, like the kind of people there. Sometimes they may ask, sometimes it may be agri related GKs, but the basic facts like what is a food production, then what is a cattle population, if you're from any veterinary background, what is a cattle population, those basic statistics, it is possible that they'll ask. Then more or less knowing about this ICR organization, the number of institutes, the number of KVKs working under it, all these are possible questions. And another question is, okay, if once you get selected, where would you like your posting? So that is basically trying to find out, okay, which institute, do you know which institute where your kind of research activities are better at, which institute is better at your institute. So that kind of like they're trying to measure that kind of aspects from you is what I felt. Basics, it definitely depend on the interview board, but please be sure about all the agriculture statistics, like as I said.
Yeah, I think Anushma lost her connectivity. Students
Yes.
actually, time is 4:10. Immediately, you can just post some doubts in your chat box if you genuinely have some. Because this is one-time opportunity. You'll not be getting an
Yes.
opportunity to interact with these people
We'll
again.
not be able to give people after
Yeah.
one.
Both of them, I think, have completed their PhDs now, and they are going back to their institutes. Anushma is already there. Ashwini will be shortly moving.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
so I think this is a very good opportunity. So please ask questions if you have any, and later on, you don't tell us, ma'am, we wish to ask this. That was, but it didn't happen, or it didn't work out, or whatever it is. You don't come up with excuses after this, okay?
Don't
I think
hesitate to
there
ask
shouldn't be any
questions.
such inhibitions because being an online platform, we are not face to face also, and I do not know who you are also. So
Yeah.
such kind of parameters will not be discussed upon. So you can freely ask your questions.
Exactly. And I think many have this problem with communication. I have noticed because I have actually taken classes for them for English. So we had various sessions, and in the end, actually, myself and Jay Krishna Kumar sir was actually in the interview both, and we had lot of issue when it was coming to this communication skills. I used to tell students that you have to come out, let it be a blunder, then also it's fine because it's just we people, your seniors, your teachers, nobody else is there in this platform. So this is a very good opportunity for you to talk also free. And this way only you can develop your communication skill, and it's not an overnight process. So this is what I feel, and I used to advise all the students to read with whatever material they get in English to read, so that we all develop your vocabulary and your usage, your pronunciations and all these things will be developed. So please, you can ask questions because I was engaging them because you people are not asking any questions. I think they're all very happy. So
Ma'am,
no more.
just to add on to one more thing, coming to the resources that we were talking about, during our time, what happens is when we used to go for this all India tour, we used to get all the books from that IRA store. But now, actually, there is a provision. I can share his mail ID with you. So, whichever book you want, you can ask him directly through the mail and you can deposit the required amount and he'll post it to you. So
Yeah.
even that issue is not there now. So
Okay.
resources is not at all an issue, even with internet connectivity and everything. So I
Yeah.
can share all those details with you, but just give me some time because everything is locked up in NGRA. I was actually planning to share the materials also, basic materials, so that it
Yeah.
will be helpful. It basically deals with like most of the questions which has been asked in the previous years and how you have to write the answer. So that will give them a better orientation.
Okay. Yes, actually, it's very true because we have one Sharmaji there in IARI who used to do
Yes.
all.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharmaji's
There, whenever we used to go there, we used to buy all the books and come, and
yes.
that's it. And even now, I was also actually searching for some people who can just give us this because now there are a lot of online sites and all these things that can provide us the textbooks. So anyway, Ashwari, it will be a great help if you can just provide us with a list of textbooks which you have
Yes, ma'am.
studied, because that way we can orient our students also towards KRF and other things, other competitive exams.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, okay, actually, that will be a great help for us, extension, being extension department. So Anushma, regarding your support also for horticulture students is needed in the aspects of this resource materials, either in the form of list of good textbooks that they can refer for JRF, because now immediate examination that they are going to face is JRF, obviously, because once they are completing their UG, they have to go for JRF exam. So for that also, you can just give us a list of books which is really good as far as that particular subject is concerned. Then it will be very, very useful for them. So I think Anushma is hearing me, though her mic is mute. So Anushma also can just give me the list of horticulture books. So I might be sharing it with Rafika sir or the other concerned people. I think you have already completed your PhD from Vinayani, right? Because I just forgot when I was talking, I just forgot it because she just told me that she has already completed her PhD in Vinayani. So this is another good option as far as ARS is concerned. You can continue. I think you will get extension, right? Once you are qualified.
Yes, ma'am. But actually, because of all these issues, only now even the DG is very particular that the qualification should be made as PhD. Because what happens is once a person joins the service, then they'll go for this completion of this PhD. So that is why he has made it even more strict. And even now in IRA, that split option, they're taking it off. So considering all these factors, now they've made PhD, so people are free and they can. But it will be a very good opportunity for those people who are just about to complete their PhD because the competition at that time will be less. Usually, what happens is masters they have better chances of qualifying because they are more in connection with the syllabus and everything. But when it comes to PhD, we'll be more or less involved with our PhD work and all that. So it will be the immediate people who are passing out of PhD. I think it's a very good opportunity, and I hope that people from KU get this time. The next time they call for this ARS.
Yes, and the
Yes,
competition
very
will
good.
also be less.
Now, for UGC also, they are making the PhD mandatory because I think ours were the last batch where PG was the basic qualification for assistant professor. Now everything else like, ARS, this assistant professor positions in UGC position and all these things, they have made actually PhD mandatory. So as you said, there are chances that the competition might be less. Because when it is coming to PG, you have a lot, means good number of students. But when
Yes.
it's coming to PhD, people actually reduce, the number of students reduce, and the competition will also be lesser, I think. And I also expect more PhD students joining us because of this.
So this
Otherwise,
is a very
they'll be just going, saying a bye and leaving off.
Yes.
So it's like that. Okay. Anyway, we are expecting a new change, a new phase for all these examinations altogether. So I think there are no more questions from the students.
yeah.
Actually, they have understood everything is what I feel. They might be means contacting you guys also with regard to this. So please help them.
Yes, ma'am.
From our teacher side.
Oh,
Okay, Gopika, I think just give them a very grand vote of thanks.
Okay, so we have reached the last phase of the third training program that we've organized for the agriculture students, especially the undergraduate students for their career orientation. And for the session, as you might all agree, it was a very informative session and a very interactive and a lucid session that was shared here. And it was led by Ms. Ashwati and Ms. Nishma. So, Mrs. Ashwati and Mrs. Nishma, okay. So, it was very interactive, and I think you gave a lot of details about starting right from how to prepare for the exam, how to select the subject, and how to make preparations, and starting from the objective, then to the descriptive questions, and then to the training, and to the interview, and later how to face the training, and how you will complete the training session, and then how it will be posted, and very much in detail. Like we also got understand a lot about how the thing is being carried out now. So it was very informative, and I think they don't have much left to ask. So, and now that you've said that you've shared all the materials also via email and all those things, so I think they're happy. And I think one new thing that they want to know here is that they'll be able to apply for this only after PhD. So that may be the reason why there are no more questions after that. So that is also inspiration, because once you plan to go for the ARS, it is very good. You complete your PhD and then you will have very less competition, and chances of getting into are more, because the number of seats will still be the same. Like the number of seats notified will be the same, and it is notified more often as compared to our AP posts. So you have better chances of getting into it if you have really a good research aptitude. So from on behalf of the Department of Extension and all the faculties in the Department of Extension, we extend a very heartfelt thanks to Anishma and Ashwati, our juniors and your seniors, for joining this session and giving you a very nice orientation on this particular topic. And then I would like also to extend my sincere thanks to our HOD, Dr. Seema ma'am, who has been instrumental in giving us all encouragement and support for organizing this webinar. And also, we do express our sincere thanks to Dr. Anukumar sir, the Dean, and also faculty of our department for encouraging us and giving us all support for organizing this very informative seminar series, especially which is of lots of benefit to our students. I think they are also very much benefited, and they also have. They are in fact looking forward to the coming sessions also, because they are getting a lot of exposure. Like we had the first session on career in agriculture officers as agricultural officers in the department, and the second session was on banking sector, and third we are having now the one we had on ARS, and we'll be having more sessions also. So anyway, thanks to all of you who have joined, and last but not the least, also for the students who showed their interest in joining the session and asking their doubts and getting your required things from this webinar. Okay, so that is it. So over to Smriti.
Thank you. So Ashwati and Anushma, when I called you, you immediately responded, and you were saying, "Ma'am, then what?" And you were really interested in supporting your juniors, which is really, really appreciable. And I think this support for your juniors should be always there in your mind, because we are all from the same university.
Yes.
So I expect your wholehearted cooperation from both of you, because after wherever we are, finally our base is here only in this Vellini or Kerala Agriculture University, whatever it is, because now we feel that so you people also will be having the same, once you go up your ladder, your career ladder, still it will be there. So we are always as a strong support for our juniors. So thank you both.
Especially this type of linkages would be very good, because the number of GRFs and ARS has gone down like anything for the during the last 5-10 years. So this type of linkages and mentoring will be helpful to our students.
That's very true, because Kerala Agriculture University once stopped actually with the maximum number of JRFs.
Continuously, we
But
back the
later
best
on,
university award with the maximum number of JRFs and ARS.
Exactly, and now it has really gone down, because when we were students, we used to hear that so many JRFs are there from our university, but now we are not hearing that. So there is some lacuna somewhere, and that should not be there, and we are trying to actually patch it up. Okay. You people guys are actually helping us also for that. So thank you, Ashwati and Anushma, for your time and effort you have taken for this. A lot of thanks.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye,
yeah.
ma'am. Take care.
Bye. I'll call you personally. Thanks.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Anushma, thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am, thank you.
Your connectivity anyway, it supported us. Thank you. I was thinking it would be gone in between.
I cannot move out also, no, ma'am. Here, some problem.
Yeah. Anyway, it didn't create much problem as I expected. Though in the beginning you messaged me like connectivity issues are there. Okay. Okay. Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Anushma.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Take care, ma'am.
Bye. Stay safe. You're at quarantine, right? So stay safe.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.